Good afternoon, everybody. So this is live from Liverpool. I'm in Liverpool, and this is really cool because I've just been for a fitting for a huge film, which is very exciting. I've just had to be all clean shaven and tried my uniform on and stuff like that. So I'm going to be in the new Batman film Vengeance, which is going to be filmed in Liverpool and all over the UK. So it's really exciting to be in a film of this size, and this, guys, is a huge film. I mean, there are hundreds of people on the crew. So I've just spent the last 4 hours getting fitted, which is pretty amazing. And if you're an actor starting out, you know, these kind of films, if you can get on these kind of films, that is just amazing for the experience, to see how they film it, to see the huge production, how it's organised, and blah, blah, blah. So this is the next film after Joker. So they made like $1 billion on Joker. So the budget for this is massive. So it's going to be exciting. So I'm filming, I think, 5 or 6 days next week. And it's going to be really amazing experience for me to do that. And of course, it's great for your CV. When you're doing it, it's a non-speaking part, but I may get minor dialogue, so we'll see how that goes. Now, a lot of people asking me about coronavirus, so here's my reply. Health is the most important thing. Without any health, you are fucked. So you've got to look after your health. It's the most important thing. And don't forget, coronavirus is going to affect people with underlying conditions. So if you are around people with underlying conditions, they need to be protected the most. Now, right now, the UK is very underplaying coronavirus, because what's happening is the news is very, very well managed and very fractional. But look what happened in Italy. Italy has got, you know, after 3 days, it went from 200 to 400 to 800. In a week there was 10,000 cases. Now there's over 200,000 cases. Just unbelievable. Okay, so it's going to get a lot worse in the UK, and a lot of people now are self-isolating, even if they've got like flu symptoms, or just doing it anyway. But the worst thing is, panic buying toilet paper is ridiculous. Doesn't have to be that way, and people fighting over, you know, products is crazy. People have sent me pictures where the shelves are absolutely empty of product, right? So this is because people are not well informed or educated about what's going to happen. It's a very contagious disease, guys, but it's not as aggressive as SARS. That means it's not as infectious, but it is very, in terms of infectious, in terms of harming your body quickly. So if you are in an environment where, for example, if you're in London and you're taking the tube, don't take the tube. Really don't do it, guys. It's not worth it, because there's so many people squeezed in a tight spot. My friend got stuck on the tube for an hour last week, and I can't imagine. There was a tube driver just diagnosed. There's been 11 members of Parliament diagnosed with coronavirus, and they haven't closed Parliament yet. So you've got to really take your own precautions. Don't rely on government or politicians to tell you what to do. It's common sense. So I'm not going to London now for, I don't know, my acting course is really finished, but I'm not going to go now because I don't want to go on a train and go on an Airbnb and give the risk to all the people I'm around. So think about what you're going to do in your working pattern. Are you going to put people at risk if you're exposed to crowds of people and stuff like that? So the way that Italy and China contained it was to stop crowded events, stopped hanging around in crowds, going to restaurants like Italy have done brilliant. And now they've hit their peak, and it's just China's just about they reduced the number of cases. China's reduced. Italy is peaking, but it's now looking like it's going to reduce because of the measures the Italian government have taken, which has been brilliant. The UK government, unfortunately, haven't taken the same measures, and that's going to affect everybody in a very bad way. So what you can do is just protect yourself. Make sure you wash your hands all the time. Get a sanitizer at home. Do not shake hands with anybody. Don't touch anybody. Use your elbows if you have to get that close, but you don't need to get that close, guys. So, you know, I would take severe precautions for the next month to 6 weeks, because I think the next 3 months pretty much is crazy land, guys. This unprecedented. This disease is unprecedented. It's just crazy. So you've got to take your own precautions and make sure that you look after yourself. Make sure that you get, yourself healthy. This is a great time in self-isolation to work on yourself. And remember, working on yourself is the best project you can ever have, because you can improve yourself and make sure that you are able to look inside of you and think about what your life is really going right now. Is it the life you really want? Is it going in the right direction? Is it what you're doing now really giving you purpose? Is it giving you meaning? Or do you need to change direction? So you've got to be grateful in a way that you're getting this time to be able to do these and have these reflections. Now, if anybody is having financial issues, such as you're getting less work because you are self-employed, or you're getting less work because not as many clients are coming to your restaurant, what you've got to do is you've got to manage that financially. And I would definitely speak to your bank, because a lot of banks now are offering something called payment holidays. So if you've got a mortgage, the Bank of England has reduced the mortgage rate, but sometimes that's not enough. Because if you're living hand to mouth and you can't pay your mortgage, you're not getting paid, you've got to do something about it. So approach your bank and ask them for a payment holiday for the next 2 or 3 months. Some of your banks will do it. Some of your banks will do it, but they're not going to do it, they're not going to do it if you don't ask them. You've got nothing to lose. And if you have a mortgage break for 2 months, it's going to help you out financially to be able to look after your health as a paramount thing, and not worry about going to work to make money to pay the bills. Because the worst thing is going to a place of work where you're at risk for your health because you have to pay your mortgage. Talk to the bank, and I'm telling you right now, a lot of them will understand and they will help you out, and it won't affect your credit. So look at that, all right? Now, if you're worried about what's going to happen with your life in the next 2 or 3 months, you've got to prepare for yourself that. Always prepare for the worst. So the worst that can happen is the disease is going to spread. So you've got to protect yourself, and you've got to try and not be in big crowds of people. You've got to be alone a lot of the time. You've got to be very clean, and you've got to educate your children and your family to do the same thing, because if you don't, it's kind of like you're being disrespectful to them. Now, I have messaged all the people that I know and say, listen, I'm not coming to London because of these reasons. I don't want to put you at risk. If you're staying in a hotel, please remember, you don't know who's been in that hotel before you and if they're clean or not. So if you have to go in a hotel, insist that that room is sanitized by housekeeping, and make sure you watch them do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother going in the hotel. So these are just some of the measures, common sense, that you can do that would really help you with your situation right now. Now, for the people that just joined me, because there's quite a lot of people now on this live, I am on, I just got a fitting for the new film Batman Vengeance with Robert Pattinson starring, and it's fantastic to be in the cast. It's not obviously not a major role, but it's on the cast of a huge film with a huge budget, and it's just amazing to have that kind of experience. All right, so I've been acting now for about 6 months. I've made a huge movie last year called Legacy of Lies with Scott Adkins, who's the top martial artist film star in the world, and that took me 7 years to make that film, and I put my own money into it, and I acted in that film and co-produced it and co-wrote it. But remember, it took me 7 years. And then in September I went to acting school, and after 6 months I'm getting film roles now and film parts. I'm getting paid roles, because basically I was willing to hustle and sacrifice everything else and commit to what I want to do. And acting and writing and directing and making movies is what I love to do. There's nothing else I want to do. So therefore I'm going to put my energy into that, right? I'm not going to give energy to something that's